Hi, I'm Pete Fowler. I serve as the team lead for the church health team, and our mission is clear. We want to see healthy churches producing healthy disciples.
And I'm Ed Walsh, and I serve as the church health director, and it is a joy to be with you today. You know, the virus has certainly thrown a curveball to our pastors, and it's forced our pastors to minister in a unique and different ways. And to help provide support, one of the things we initiated was weekly conference calls, allowing our pastors to discuss the transitions each step of the way, and more importantly, to pray together to be that support to each other.
Yeah, and I have to say, as one of the recipients of those conference calls, they have been really deeply appreciated. The testimonies that we get to share with one another, the support that we feel, and really talking about some of the new opportunities that have come up in the midst of that curveball, in the midst of all those necessary and required changes. I know at First Friends here in Salem, we have seen people who have engaged our worship services in an online streaming format that we probably would have never seen within the walls of our facility. So it's been a great thing to be able to experience and to share with others.
And it was good to have you with us. And on any given week, we had about 40 pastors who called in to one of our 6 regional calls. And we also had a conference call for Hispanic pastors as well.
Mm-hmm. And not only have all of our churches had to make transitions and changes due to COVID-19, but some of our churches have also transitioned in pastoral leadership itself.
Yeah, and so during those pastoral changes, Eastern Region provides assistance. We want to be there for the search teams. And I just want to welcome some of our new pastors this past year: Russ Gum at Alliance Friends, Kelly Meckes at Mansfield, Ohio, Ron Hill in Martinsville, Virginia, John Warner at Pelham Friends in Canada, and a welcome back to Wayne Evans, who is serving as an interim at Mount Pleasant.
And in addition to those folks in new positions, another significant resource that we have been utilizing as a church health team is the Transitional, Interim, Pastoral Services Program, more commonly known as the TIPS program. The TIPS program provides churches with pastors who are specifically trained to serve churches and prepare them for their next full-time pastor. So not to serve as the person themselves, but to walk a church through what is needed to bring that church up to its fullness of health and prepare that church to have a new lead pastor. This past year, Tom Kinnan served at Alliance, while Ansel Abney is serving currently at Winona Friends, and Randy Hartman serving at Van Wert. And we are thankful, so thankful, for the tremendous resource that's provided by the TIPS program.
You know, another change that Eastern Region began making over a year ago is in the process of renewing a pastor's call. And so Eastern Region provides online surveys. It's anonymous to those that are taking it. It's given to the elders, to the congregation, and also to the pastor himself. And the goal is that we want to see the alignment that's there between the church, between those 3 groups. And so we've had about 14 churches that have used this new system, and the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. The new system promotes church health, and it also affirms the pastor in the process.
Yeah, which is great for us to hear as a church health team when Ed shares with us the success of some of these things that we worked honestly for months, sometimes even 2 years or more, to bring together a process that we think is going to be good for the health of a church and for leadership, and it's working out that way, and we couldn't be happier. There are other things we are doing to resource the local church. The church health team provides equipping seminars, a one-day Saturday event that we go to a particular area where some of our churches are located, and we offer a day of training for not only pastors and staff members, but also lay leaders. There are lots of different opportunities for seminars that are included in that one day of training. So instead of me telling you more about it, I would like for you to listen to my friend Colby Schartzer talk a little bit about the equipping seminars that happen in his church.
Hey y'all, Pastor Colby from Portsmouth First Friends Church. I just wanted to take a quick moment and tell you about the missional engagement seminar that the church health team put on. Back in November we had it at Portsmouth First Friends Church. It was a great opportunity for us to bring people in, bring our leaders in, and really get to figure out how to do things better. We're always looking for ways to do ministry better at Portsmouth First Friends Church, as most churches are. And we brought them down here, and they were able to teach us some things. We had a class on how to get volunteers for our children's ministry. There was a discipleship class, there was missional engagement, there was outreach, and out of all of those discussions, we come up with something new that our church has never done, and we talked to several others, and there's a couple churches that have done them, but we called it Servolution Sunday, and it was an opportunity for our church to come together and work and serve on Sunday and worship in a different way. And what we did was we came into the church, we met for a few minutes, did some worship singing, and then we went out into the community and served. And so doing the missional engagement seminar really spurred some thought on our part and got us to think differently. I really believe that Satan is crafty. He's trying to come up with new ways to keep people away from church, and so we've got to update our ways of keep getting people to church. And so this missional engagement seminar was really key. One of the things that people had really enjoyed was the discipleship class. Randy Hecker puts on a great discipleship session, and it was really just key to just be disciples that are making disciples, and that's obviously the goal. And so we really did appreciate the church health team investing in us so that we can invest in others. And I highly recommend it for any churches out there that are thinking that, we got it figured out. Bring them in anyway and see what you can do to think outside the box and see if we can't reach people for the love of Jesus.
Thank you very much, Colby, for sharing with us, and we want to let you know that our next event is scheduled for October 3rd, right here at First Friends Church in Salem, Ohio, and we'll be inviting churches nearby to our location to join us for a day of equipping, and that, of course, is all contingent on the continued decline of COVID-19, so stay tuned for any details, but we are looking forward to hosting an equipping time for some of the area churches here in Salem. We also have provided missional engagement grants for up to $500 each to assist churches with smaller budgets in community outreach ideas they have to serve the people around them. West Park Friends was one of those that took advantage of that. They started a food pantry for their community through that grant, and more grants will be available again this year. You can go to the website, efcer.org, and you can find out more about those grants and how to apply for them, and we look forward to partnering with you in those efforts.
Another great resource that we have is the Church Health Assessment Survey. This is a tool that evaluates 8 key growth areas of a church. And the good news is that we actually have a 50% discount available to our churches. So your church would pay $130 and Eastern Region would pick up the other $130 there. It's a tremendous resource.
Yeah, and a great investment. I mean, the old adage that, what is it, an ounce of prevention versus a pound of cure? I mean, to know areas that maybe need a little more attention and be able to shore those up on the front end is a great investment for your local church. The church health team also has a list of companies on our website that we are recommending for background checks. We want to stress that we strongly recommend that all of our churches complete background checks for all of their volunteers who work with youth and work with children. It is extremely important for our churches to do this, and it's not costly, usually around $10 per person, but again, an investment that will pay off big to make sure that we are loving our neighbors well. That's part of loving our neighbors well, is making sure when our neighbors bring their kids to our churches and our VBS programs, that those kids are being cared for by people that we know are safe for them. So Ed, talk to us a little bit about the budget for our church health team, because that spending plan includes a lot for revitalization. So we should talk a fair amount about what revitalization means to us.
Well, I'm glad you asked me that. And, Webster defines revitalization as the action of imbuing something with new life and vitality. Now, personally, when I have to look up a definition, I do not like it when I also have to look up a definition of another word within the definition. Yeah. But that's exactly what happened for me To imbue means to inspire, stimulate, or motivate. And that's exactly what we want to do. We want to inspire, stimulate, and motivate our churches to new life and vitality. So we have targeted specific churches. We're working with their pastor. We're working with their elders in order for them to reinvent themselves. Now, often this includes clarifying their mission, vision, and values. But more than that, it requires a gut check. It's challenging those leaders to say, will you do whatever it takes to set a new course? Now, Pete, have you noticed how we're getting older?
I noticed that you're getting older all the time. I don't know about me. I'd have to ask somebody else about me, but...
Well, you know what? Many of our churches are also getting older. They're aging, and it takes intentionality to grow younger. And that's one of our aims through our revitalization spending plan, is we want to invest in churches helping them to grow younger.
Yeah, and we look forward to seeing how this all works out, because we want to be clear that we want to continue to disciple all generations well, but we also want to make it a point to allow our churches to have the support that they need in order to empower younger leaders that they identify within their congregations, so that those younger leaders can work with our churches and set those new courses together. Our last topic could not come at a better time. Our pastors in EFCER, and as well as pastors everywhere, have expended tremendous physical and emotional energy during these past few months dealing with all the realities that came along with the COVID-19 outbreak and everything that went along with it. Churches and pastors had to decide when to close and what closing would look like and what would be done while we were closed and what would it look like to reopen and what sort of benchmarks would get us there and how many phases do we need to do it in. And in the midst of all of that reality, realizing that those pastors are doing so within churches that are made up of people and members that maybe have very, very drastically different opinions about how their church should handle that whole thing. So the level of stress for your pastors has been probably a little higher than usual as of late. Some of us have been baptized by fire, as it were, to create an online experience, to stream church services, or to get ideas like doing things in the parking lot. For us, it was moving to online, something that I had actually put off, and then this was the moment that we simply had to go to it. So churches have had a great opportunity to show their pastors appreciation. So let's talk a little bit about NAE's Bless Your Pastor initiative.
Let's do that. NAE stands for the National Association of Evangelicals, and they have a great funded grant called the Bless Your Pastor Initiative. I share a little bit about that at the Finance and Administration report, but here's the bottom line. We are encouraging congregations, once you have regathered more fully, to bless your pastor and show your responsibility. But I need to tell you this, church leaders, this is your responsibility.
Yeah, that's really true, because as a pastor, I am passionate about drumming up support for mission trips, mission projects, things that our church needs. But really the last thing that I want to do as a pastor is suggest that we hold a special offering for the pastor.
Yeah, that seems a little bit awkward at times. So church leader, the ball's in your court. So this is all you need to do. NAE has a 7-minute video to explain exactly how to do it. So watch that. Decide that you're going to do it. Schedule it. They have a brochure called 50 Ways to Bless Your Pastor. Lots of different ways beyond monetary that you can do that. So you would distribute that brochure to all of your congregation. And then take that appreciation offering and then rejoice with your pastor. Just love on him, show that blessing to them. And NAE is also going to rejoice with you because they also want to send a $250 gift card to your pastor.
That sounds great. You can find out more about the Bless Your Pastor grant at the workshop called Grants, Gifts, and Gems Galore Now, is that your title? Did you come up
Oh,
with that?
absolutely.
Because listen, when a title full of alliteration like that just gets my blood pumping. So check out that workshop to find out more about the Bless Your Pastor grants and how you can show appreciation for your local church pastor in the near future. Also, another church health team resource, Dan Kale's workshop from last year called Small Churches May Be the Next Big Thing got so much positive feedback. Our church health team heard from many of you that were just overwhelmingly supportive and thankful for all the wisdom and the ideas that Dan had to share. So we are offering that once again this year. Maybe last year you missed out on it and you heard about how great it was. Well, you can catch it again this year. And the good news of being virtual, the bad news is we don't get to see each other face to face. But the good news is this year you are not limited to 2 workshops, because in the past you could only be in one place at one time. Now with our all online options, you can take advantage of every single workshop if you would like to do so. So unless you have anything else to share.
Man, you've done a great job, Pete. Thanks.
So this pretty much concludes our church health team report. We want to thank you guys for adapting to this new format for this year of an all online virtual yearly meeting. But we are already looking forward to seeing your faces, to see you in person in the summer of 2021 as we get back to in-person yearly meeting again. So in the meantime, before we see each other again, please remember that Ed and the church health team, we are here to support you, to resource you, to equip you, and to encourage you and your local churches towards greater health so that you can continue to obey the call of Jesus Christ to grow disciples.